All right, Todd, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Today, we're going over the real estate market statistics for the greater Phoenix metropolitan area ending June 16th. Let's see what happened. 66 days closed on market this past week, a 4.91 month supply, 20.39 absorption rate. 755,320 was the average list price this past week. 582,330 is the average sale price, and the list price to sale price retention at the end of the week, 97.21. Take a look at active inventory. It rose just a little bit, 26,645. Pending is at 3,964, and closed units at 2,716. Looking at new listings taken, up 2.3%. Yay, 1,953 new listings taken. Brings our days on market for active to 113 and closed at 65.7. Taking a look at the lower left-hand side, price ranges. This is always here, but I'm not really sure everybody understands how consumers can use this, and you can use this for consumers. This actually helps them really identify where their house is and their potentially if they're interested in selling it, and some of those days on market expectations. Of course, this is for the entire MLS, for the Arizona regional MLS. So your own statistics in your local market are more important than these. But when you're sending this out, and by the way, you have the right. Somebody said to me this past week, can I send out your slides? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what we do this for, is so that you can capitalize upon this. Just leave the copyrights in. And so this gives a person an opportunity to see how many homes are available for sale in a particular price range, days on market that particular price range may be having. And as you can see, just by looking at it quickly under DOM, there's a huge transparency difference or parity difference between 117 days on market and 78, or 113 and 86. So it's something really important. And then to the right of that, it gives the number or the percentage of the total inventory that particular price range category does. And then we always tell you, did it go up or down this past week? And that's what the numbers are on the right-hand side there. So just as you guys get a chance to really understand how you might be able to use this, or how consumers might look at that. 0 to 600,000 is representing 65.28% of the entire MLS inventory. 600 to 1 million, excuse me, at 21.33. And the only area or category that went down this past week was $1 million and up, representing 13.39. So here's our spreadsheet. This is the holy grail of the market stats. So this gives you the opportunity to compare week over week, year over year, and month over month in one glance. And really that's, you show your first house you've never shown a home before. You got a client coming up. Do you wait until the client gets in the car with you and you get to that first showing to learn how to use the lockbox? Heck no. You get to the lockbox first. You go showing first. Well, when you get to the second home, here's the benefit. You're now somewhat of an expert, because you get to now compare the home you first saw to the home you saw next. And then, of course, over the years, you have thousands of homes that you've seen, which really is where the market knowledge comes from, that you can be able to just spit off these particular differences between homes. Well, this is the same thing with the spreadsheet. And this is why we give this to you, is because it gives you an opportunity to start learning what is important in our market, and we show you the ones that are. So let's get right into why we do what we do and what those numbers are. So 1,953, way over on the left-hand side is this thing called ROT. That's rules of thumb. That's where we'd like to be. We'd love to have 2,400 listings every single week. In fact, we need it. But beyond that, we're at 1,953 this past week, which was up just a little bit. And in comparison to last year, 2024, same week, you'll see we only did 1,844. So even if this number might have been a little less than we did last week, it's still significantly more, over 100 properties more than we did last year, and over 400, almost 400 properties more than we did the year before. So we can take a look. We can take a look at some of these numbers that way. So adding those numbers to the markets, we're now at 26,645 total listings. 474 of those are in the coming soon category. 20,470 in the single-family detached, non-distressed, 2,496 new home construction, 26,315 overall non-distressed. If you look way over to the left-hand side, that 98.8 says that 98.8% of all the properties in the MLS right now are non-distressed. It doesn't mean people aren't being hurt. It just means that this is, the number. It's about 1.2. Looking at pending, we're at 3,964. We use this to test or to understand how many buyers are in the marketplace. 3,964 versus 4,120 last week. So this is the open escrows. So when it goes down, some properties obviously have closed. But 4,028 is what we saw last year. We're at 3,964. So, if you just watch the trend, which you can see over in the blue columns, the year before we were at 6,637 in the month of May. Buyers in the marketplace, we were only at 4,835. So basically, we're 1,800, 1,900 buyers short in the marketplace right now, and that's how we can look at these numbers to gain additional information. For closed properties, way too early in the month. We're only halfway through, 2,716. We're just a little short of where we were last year, same time frame. Month supply, we're at a 4.91. We were at 5.32. That was kind of a little bit of an anomaly. But here's what you have to know. Anytime you see a 4, above 4, you're firmly in a buyer's market. So things are going to be totally different than they have been for the last 10 years. And you have to know how to work with those. And if you don't, I highly suggest you get involved with a coach. So looking at the median sale price, which is the bottom number, 449, this is one we kind of pay attention to. It went down. So of the properties that closed in the last week, the median price of those properties went down about $15,000. And again, the monthly numbers over in the blue are the ones that we really use to know where the market is. The ones that you're seeing here in white are just the changes week over week. It can give you some insight, and I'll show you how that is in just a second. 66 days on market this past week meant the market moved pretty quick. We are looking for a 70 days on market as an average. 87 has been good. It's been coming down ever so little. But now 66 says the summer market may have arrived. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen next week. 97.8% list price to sell price retention is really what we're looking for. That means the seller on average will negotiate approximately 2%, 2.2% specifically. I've been doing these numbers all the way back since 1998, and I can tell you the greater Phoenix metropolitan market is always So when you're at 97.2, as we are, more than on average. But if you look at it as a week-over-week comparison, 96.86 last week, the sellers were able to retain higher amounts. And this is how this week-over-week thing can really benefit you, knowing what's going on in the last 7 to 10 days when you're a listing agent or you're a buyer's agent. You know when to put the pressure on the on the seller. And guess what? We're in that market. Put the pressure on the seller.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're telling you today. So those are the stats for the week, Mike. Thanks. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
All right. Appreciate it.